Welcome everybody, my name is Christian and today I'm going to be giving you my first impression for Star Wars Armada Wave 4, the Interdictor. On the Imperial side, the Interdictor is a ship that those who have enjoyed the expanded universe as well as the most recent appearance in Star Wars Rebels have been looking forward to seeing. There's two versions of this ship in this pack, the Suppression and Combat refits. Both have a total of 4 dice on its front and side arcs, with the combat version having 2 red and 2 blue, with the suppression version having 3 blue and 1 red, and costing 90 points versus the combat's 93 points. This is a relatively small distinction, and most other aspects of the ship are the same, except the suppression version allows 2 of the gravity well upgrade slots rather than just 1. This ship, having the same firing arc from both its sides and its front, is much more well-rounded than the normal Imperial ship, which normally contains powerful front arcs and relatively weak side arcs. Both versions of this ship have a hull value of 9, 4 defense tokens, including 2 contains, a command value of 2, a squadron value of 2, and 5 engineering points, which is the highest so far of any ship in both the Rebel and Imperial fleet. It also has a top speed of 2. Since both this and the Victory are the medium class ships so far in the Imperial fleet, comparisons are natural, and the Interdictor seems to be a more expensive, yet more durable and specialized version of the Victory Star Destroyer. The 2 different gravity well upgrades on the suppression could create some interesting synergies that we will discuss further. The G8 projectors are very similar to tractor beams, but without the restriction caused by being the same size ship class or higher, and can slow your enemies down temporarily to 0. If used in conjunction with tractor beams or new officers like Admiral Constantine, you could stop a rebel ship in its tracks and keep it from escaping the front arc of a more deadly Victory or Imperial Star Destroyer. On the defensive side, the targeting scrambler forcing rerolls on attacks at close range for up to 4 dice is particularly interesting, and it's only 5 points. It could be really helpful reducing the damage inflicted by an MC-30 or a Traitor's Gladiator Star Destroyer, in addition to Rebel and Imperial squadrons. For those that like to build a list to synergize with their objectives, you may enjoy the Grav Shift Reroute and the G7X Gravwell projectors, each allowing you to manipulating the starting conditions of the game and can be used to your advantage to give you a leg up in firing lanes, dangerous territory, or contested outpost. Admiral Titus allows the Imperial player to change 1 enemy ship speed during the first phase. He's only 2 points and he could be particularly useful, and I'll explain why further. Admiral Constantine has a similar power, and he's only 23 points, the cheapest admiral in the Imperial fleet, and he can do the same thing to an enemy ship that's near 2 medium or large class ships. While you would always expect to prefer to slow an enemy down, for both Titus and Constantine, you could use this ability to force your opponent to speed up and to do an unwanted collision with an asteroid, a friendly ship, or if you're lucky enough, even fly off the board. It's an odd power, and if used the right way, it could create very creative and agonizing penalties for your opponent. The only ship title the Interdictor upgrade gets is the Interdictor itself, which allows you to unexhaust 1 upgrade card on this ship, allowing you to use the ability that you can only do once, twice. Exhaustible cards include the previously released Intel Officer, but also could include the new Commandant Aresco. Aresco allows you to gather a command token of a nearby ship's command. But by using the Interdictor, you could get 2 tokens rather than just 1. Or you could slow down 2 ships with the G8 projectors instead of just 1. Or you could double up Varen's ability and keep recycling 2 tokens instead of just 1. This could be particularly useful to keep an engineering token always available if you have projector experts on your interdictor. With the engineering value of 5, you'll be able to move shields from one to the other and still recharge it yourself. Even though the interdictor ships only have a squadron value of 2, very low for a medium class ship, it does come with 2 interesting upgrades. Flight Commander, which allows you to do your squadron command after your maneuver rather than before. It's only 3 points, but it could be very useful in 2 different distinct situations. If your squadrons are currently out of range, it allows you to move towards them in order to activate them. Or if you believe that your ship could destroy a target on its own, it allows you to do that attack first and then send in the squadrons to either finish it off or go after different targets. For only 3 points, it gives you a great level of flexibility in both situations. The next upgrade is also only 3 points. After you execute a maneuver, you may select the same number of unengaged friendly squadrons as your squadron value and move them up to distance 1. It may not sound like much, but that's huge, because distance 1 is significantly larger than just distance 2 or just distance 3. This could easily allow you to move slower B-wings past what would normally be speed 3 in one turn, bringing them closer to the enemy ships, or you could adjust your own fighters to tie up more enemy squadrons. Or you could also move the squadrons out of the way of your upcoming ships so that they don't get overlapped and placed by your enemy, or vice versa, placing them where you think the enemy is going to be. This upgrade would be great for both ISDs and MC-80s since they have a larger squadron command, and due to them being a large base, they have a larger range around them that you could use this ability. For 3 points, I think this is a great bargain. I think it's going to be one of the widely used upgrades, up there with gunnery teams and ECMs. There's also the new ion cannon, the MS-1. It's super cheap at only 2 points and allows you to exhaust one defender's upgrade card. This is very situational because only some of your opponent's ships will have exhaustible upgrades. However, between ECMs, G8 projectors, targeting scramblers, and others, you're likely to find an opponent that has an exhaustible upgrade. This could be particularly useful when fighting against GR-75 transports or assault carriers that have slicer tools, because even if they scatter the damage away, you can still exhaust their slicer tools before they have a chance to mess with your commands. Overall, I'm really happy with both the Interdictor and the Liberty class Montgomery cruiser for Wave 4. I think it's going to be a welcome addition to the game that is going to make the game much more dynamic as well as less predictable and way more variation in completely viable fleet builds. And I can't wait to both use them and fight against opponents with both of these ships. Which upgrade are you looking forward to the most? I have to admit, this fighter coordination team I think is going to be the star of this show, even though the gravity well projector powers are particularly interesting. But we'll just have to see how the games line up. Thank you and goodbye.